As we all know, modern nuclear weapons have been used in combat twice, each time leaving a profound memory. In some archaeological sites and ancient documents, there seem to be indications that a nuclear war might have occurred in ancient times. In 1998, archaeologist Michelo was assigned a task to analyze a relic breastplate belonging to Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun. Embedded in the center of this breastplate was an oval gem-like object. Michel's tests revealed that it was primarily made of silicon dioxide. Although modern synthetic glass also contains silicon dioxide, the material of this oval object differed from modern glass. Unlike synthetic glass, which contains almost no impurities besides silicon dioxide, this gem contained various minerals and had a different crystal structure. Michel's subsequent investigation found that there were large quantities of this yellow-green silicon dioxide mineral in the Libyan desert in northeast Sahara, which was later named Libyan glass. A comparison confirmed Michel's hypothesis. The gem was made of glass. Modern synthetic glass is produced in industrial facilities under high temperature and pressure. So how did ancient Egypt obtain this glass material? The first thought is naturally occurring glass. It's known that natural glass can form in two ways. 1. During volcanic eruptions, lava is expelled and rapidly cools, forming glassy rock structures. The second way is when meteorites strike the Earth, generating instant high temperatures that turn ground sand and minerals into glass. Moreover, there's a third way of glass formation that is neither natural nor man-made: nuclear explosions. Like meteorite impacts, nuclear explosions generate high temperatures that turn sand and minerals into glass. In nuclear test sites, this type of glass is found. So which of these explains the formation of Libyan glass? From a common-sense perspective, these explanations seem difficult to verify. Firstly, no volcanoes are found near the area where Libyan glass was found. Secondly, reports suggest there are large crater-like structures in the region, but this hasn't been confirmed by experts. Some geologists believe these are just weathered landscapes. The possibility of a nuclear explosion also seems hard to justify. However, further investigation by Michel found that Libyan glass had about 50% similarity to glass formed by meteorite impacts, but over 90% similarity to glass created by nuclear explosions. This result was hard for Michel as a scientist to accept, but he ultimately reached the bold conclusion that a nuclear explosion might have occurred in the Sahara Desert before modern civilization. In 1933, a Hungarian expedition led by Laszlo Almasi discovered a cave in the southern supply region of the Sahara Desert. Cave walls bore paintings depicting various animals and swimming humans. This discovery suddenly made the desolate land famous, attracting many visitors. However, these paintings also raised many questions. Why do the cave paintings in the middle of a desert depict river-dwelling creatures? If the people in the paintings were indeed swimming, where did the river come from in the vast desert? This led to the hypothesis that the Sahara Desert might have been entirely different in ancient times. In 2007, an even more intriguing study was published in the New Scientist magazine. An article reported that the research team of the Remote Sensing Center of Boston University in the United States discovered through satellites that there used to be many lakes in the Sahara Desert of Sudan, and a huge lake was detected 100 meters below the surface of the Sahara Desert in Darfur, Sudan. After careful analysis of the images, the research team concluded that this is at least the bottom of a lake with 30,000 square kilometers of water. If this underground lake is a freshwater lake, its watershed area may rank 6th in the world today. But after looking at thousands of years of historical records in Egypt, it is found that the Sahara Desert has existed for a long time since recorded history began. So when and for what reason did this continent, which was originally full of water and green, become a desert? Some scholars believe that it is the movement of the Earth's axis that leads to the rapid change of climate, thus making this area desertified. However, there are also objections that the movement of the Earth's axis is global. If the movement of the Earth's axis can turn the forests and waters near the equator into deserts, then why hasn't the Amazon rainforest in South America, which is also located near the equator, undergone environmental changes? There is an obvious contradiction. If the stories of this series of discoveries are combined, a hypothesis will emerge that the transformation of the Sahara Desert from an oasis to a desert may not be caused by the shift of the Earth's axis, but may be the cause of the nuclear explosion. In fact, there are many records and archaeological discoveries of ancient nuclear explosions in other places. Mohenjo-Daro is an ancient monument located in the valley of the Indus River. The name Mohenjo-Daro means Mound of Death in the local language. This Death Hill is considered by many scholars to be one of the most mysterious cities of ancient civilizations in the world. According to archaeologists, it was built about 5,000 years ago, and the degree of civilization of this city-state far exceeded that of other civilizations of its contemporaries at that time. Its urban design is incredibly perfect. What puzzles archaeologists most is the bones excavated from the upper layer of the ruins. Although this used to be a civilized city-state, these bones have not been buried. In the tomb, they look like the bones after suffering a large-scale sudden death. Some archaeologists said that it was obvious that these people died instantly in some sudden disaster. Researchers and explorers have put forward various hypotheses such as infectious disease, massacre, suicide, but they have all been denied one by one because of infectious diseases that can instantly take the lives of all residents. It is impossible to exist, and there is no trace of man-made killing. In addition, archaeologists also found that among the 9 excavated skeletons, several left traces of high-temperature roasting. From the perspective of common sense, it is easy to imagine that they were caused by volcanic eruption or meteorite impact. However, no volcanoes have been confirmed in the geology of the east and west sides of the Indus River Valley, and no craters or explosion scars have been found near the ruins. So what forces caused the residents here to die instantly by the heat? Similar to the situation in the Sahara, there is speculation that this may be caused by a nuclear explosion in ancient times. The nuclear explosion at that time may not have been so powerful, and it exploded in the air, so there were no scars of the explosion on the ground. Even so, this power was enough to instantly kill the residents of the city. Sahara and Mohenjo-Daro, 2 far apart places, have this common assumption that goes against common sense. Are these speculations and assumptions really possible? If nuclear explosions actually occurred in ancient times, it is not surprising that some records of such a significant event have been left behind. In searching for such a record, the record of such a mythical war was first found in the ancient Indian text Mahabharata, where the brave Arjuna launched an aid. Agni's armament emits searing heat and vehement winds that tremble the ground, making rivers seethe. Foes are reduced to cindery remnants akin to burnt logs. Guruka, aboard Vimana, hurls fire orbs at adversaries wielding cosmic power, as radiant as myriad suns, of fierce luminescence, and a pillar of fire. People and beasts incinerate, edibles tainted with poison. This narration aligns with an actual nuclear blast aftermath, not only picturing the initial chaos, but the radiological effects thereafter. It is possible that this story is a true record, and the puzzling corpses of Mohenjo-Daro may be the result. In addition, some scholars have found the concept of robbery in some ancient Indian documents. Kalp is a unit of time in Buddhism and Indian philosophy. In Hindu cosmology, the length of a section is considered to be equivalent to 4.32 billion years. Kalp in Buddhism also inherits the concept of the end of Indian philosophy. However, robbery, a unit representing 4.32 billion years, has confused many researchers. What did ancient Indians use this long unit of time to measure? While there are a variety of different opinions, it is worth noting nuclear fuel has a half-life of 238, which is about 4.5 billion years. The length of this rain festival is very close, so some people speculate that perhaps ancient Indians already knew about the existence and half-life of nuclear fuel uranium-238, and it may not be just a number created by rich imagination, but a unit used in ancient scientific research. Much of what is written in the Bible is regarded as myth, but some of it is considered some historical fact. The story told next may be one of them. There is a story in Genesis 19 in the Bible. One day, 2 angels came to the city of Sodom, and the resident Rhodes sat at the gate waiting for them. After the angel arrived, Rhodes immediately noticed them and warmly invited the angel to his home. Soon, however, the inhabitants of the city surrounded Rhodes's house and demanded that he hand over the angel. So the 2 angels just waved their hands, the inhabitants who were about to rush in. After an instant loss of sight, the 2 angels urged Rhodes to leave the city with his wife and children because they were the angels sent by God to destroy the city. And he said to Rhodes, "Flee quickly to the mountains and turn not back, lest you also be destroyed." Then smoke billowed from the city, and sulfur and fire from the sky poured down Sodom, so that all the inhabitants and living things in the upper city could not escape. Rhodes's wife didn't heed the angel's warning, and was on her way to escape. All looked at Sodom city, and it turned into a flame pillar. The next day, when Rhodes looked at the destroyed city, he saw smoke rising from the ground, like smoke from a pot. This is the story recorded in the Bible, and now human beings with nuclear weapons realize that the scene depicted in this story is very similar to a nuclear explosion, not only in scale and atmosphere, but also in detail. So it is suggested that, as can be seen from this story in the Bible, like the Mahabharata, they may have been recorded or adapted based on certain events. Still, the hypotheses posited above don't allow us to claim with certainty that atomic armaments were employed in ancient history. The above contents are based on some literature, archaeological findings, and scholars' speculations. These assumptions and speculations do not represent scientific consensus. Please also take a rational look at whether a nuclear explosion really occurred in ancient times. At present, there is no conclusive scientific evidence to support it. This is still a topic full of controversy and discussion value. Einstein once said, "I didn't know World War III would make what weapons, but the weapons of World War IV will be stones and clubs." This sentence reflects his concern about the devastating consequences of nuclear war and the collapse of human destiny. No matter whether nuclear war has happened in the past or not, human beings must make continuous efforts to avoid nuclear war. Only true peace can protect the continuation and beauty of civilization.